One Piece, episode 648. Now, before I start, forgive me. I'm exhausted. I got no sleep last night. Long story. Don't worry about it. But I did manage to catch this week's episode of One Piece. So, first thing I noticed before I even get into the review is, okay, this anime in particular has to get it together with these episodes because it took, and I counted, from when I hit the play button to about the 7-minute mark before the episode actually began. It's a common trend in One Piece, and it's starting to drive me crazy. Well, it's been driving me crazy for a while, but literally it took 7 minutes. I marked it. It was like 6:52 before the episode actually started. And keep in mind, the episode is 22 minutes long, so you do the math there, subtract 22 minus 7, and you have a 15-minute episode, you know? So it's just they have to start shortening it or get there's a lot of stuff they don't have to include in the beginning and they just keep, doing it. It is what it is. Anyways, the actual episode was okay. There wasn't a lot of progression. But there was a couple things that were interesting in this episode. So, I'm going to go a little backwards here. I'm going to start with the least significant and try to work my way up. Least significant, surprisingly, being Luffy in the arena. With the whole arena stuff this episode, not much progression here. It was just the continuation of Luffy versus Chin Zhao. We did get to see Luffy do his jet cannon attack twice, which is pretty cool because we haven't seen that yet. In this fight against Chin Zhao. So he did jet cannon on Chin Zhao twice, sent him flying. So the fighting was okay. Nothing spectacular. Animation was just okay. A little step backwards from last week, but that's okay, Everyone's entitled to a little downtime sometimes, or, not every episode's going to be amazing. But that was pretty much it for the arena, although we did get to see Jesus Burgess, which was cool. From the Blackbeard crew. We've seen him already in this arc and in the Block A. And we got to see him again, and he was asking Cavendish and Bartholomew who that person was fighting. I mean, I'm a little surprised that he doesn't recognize it to be Luffy. I mean, is Luffy's disguise really that good? But, that was really it for the arena section. Now, the next thing I'll talk about in this episode is the whole Law Flamingo chase scene, which is continued. Now, the one thing I do want to mention is, and this is an interesting thing to talk about, or an interesting thing you guys can comment on. Do you feel like, I personally feel like this chase scene would have been much better suited in a span of 1 or 2 episodes instead of them dragging it out through 5 or 6 episodes. Just because I feel like when you only have little snippets of this every episode, that it's kind of taking away from the overall feel of the chase scene. Maybe it's just me, but I think this would have been a lot better if they just spent like a whole episode or 2 on this chase scene and not drag it out. But definitely comment on that. Let me know what you think. But anyways, Law's still continuing to run. In this episode, it looks like he's finally cornered by Flamingo. He reaches out to, at the same time on his transponder snail, he reaches out to Nami, Brooke, and Chopper, who are also in big trouble back on the Sunny with the whole art Devil Fruit lady on their ship, turning everything into art, and just complete disaster there. But we haven't spent a lot of time on that because, to be frank, the episodes and the anime and the manga have not spent a lot of time there. So, basically, Law's in trouble, Nami's in trouble, and that's what we get out of all this. One thing I find interesting, though, and I don't understand, is Law right now has Caesar Clown's heart, okay? And Flamingo needs Caesar Clown alive. So why isn't Law using Caesar Clown's heart as leverage to get away from Flamingo? I don't understand that part. Like, he has Flamingo right where he wants him because he has the leverage of Caesar Clown's heart, but he's not using it. Why? Flamingo needs Caesar Clown alive. Kaido needs Caesar Clown alive. We know that Caesar Clown is important for the whole, you know, the whole devil, the artificial devil fruits that are being produced. So, don't know what's going on there. Don't know why the anime hasn't touched on it, but and then the manga hasn't either. But it's just something I found kind of interesting. And the last thing I want to talk about in this episode, and really it was a majority of the episode, the first half of it was spent on this, is the whole Tontatta continuation. And basically, Usopp and Robin are with the Tontattas, and the Tontattas are taking them to their secret base underground. But we do find out something very, very interesting, and this is extremely important, I think, in this episode, and it can be so easily overlooked. While Usopp and Robin are being taken to the Tontatta headquarters, as the Tontattas are going after, you know, they want to go and rescue the 500 friends that were captured by Flamingo, we find out something very short but interesting, and this is from that that Tontatta gnome old guy that was hiding in Robin's boobs, okay? But this is actually very interesting. He mentions that that they've had problems with Flamingo for the last 900 years. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is this important? Well, two reasons. First of all, it teaches us that Flamingo is over 900 years old. And no, over 9,000 reference jokes, please. But yeah, he's over 900 over years old, which means that if you know anything about the One Piece history, or the history of the One Piece world, the whole Void Century took place about 1,000 years ago. So this tells us that Flamingo is obviously of some relevance to the government, and there's something very important in relation to the Void Century that we do not know about. So very curious to see if they go more in depth to it and ultimately reveal what this all means. But it might be something very small at this point, you know, in terms of Flamingo was giving the Tontattas problems for 900 years. But for the overall scheme of things, it can mean something huge for the story of One Piece. So we'll continue to follow that. But I actually felt like this was the most vital or important thing in the chapter, because it was something that, you know, we had no idea about. So that was pretty, I call it chapter, the episode, whatever, chapter / episode. But, and that was about it. Mostly this episode was more setup than anything. Well, I say that a lot of episodes, but it did seem like a lot of setup. But, overall, it was an okay episode. It wasn't great, because it took too long for things to develop in the beginning, especially, oh my god, it took 7 minutes for the episode to start. So, overall, I would give this episode an okay rating. I would say, if I had to grade it, maybe like a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. Animation was okay. Progression was a little bit slow. And the overall story and all that was okay. So, overall, 6.5, 7 out of 10. Okay episode. And we'll see you next week for another anime episode review of One Piece. See you guys.